Hello and welcome to the Light and Love Box channel. Today we're going to be exploring pleasure. My name is Tracy Anderson.
And I am Joe Courier.
You are part of a growing community bringing peace, possibility, and prosperity to help transform our world with light and love.
One box at a time. So this morning, Tracy and I have decided to just really be fun. And so that's the purpose of this talk, is to just explore the idea of pleasure and what that means and how we can all tap into that in every moment.
I think today in our society, it is so important to connect with that side of us that is childlike and adventurous and full of happy emotions. And so today, here we are, we're sitting on the floor with our legs crossed.
And we are just being fun and spontaneous.
Yes.
So I think as we age and as we grow up and mature, we lose that aspect of ourselves. It is so ingrained through cultural connections that we need to be responsible. We need to, take care of so many things beyond taking care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea of pleasure and playfulness and creativity too often is sacrificed, or we let go of it. We lose sight of it when we don't give ourselves a chance to have a better balance.
Well, I think we're taught that it's important to put others first and their needs are more important than our needs. And it kind of brings in this concept of almost like a martyr.
It does. And, there are times I think in our lives when we have to do that.
Yes.
Our families come first if there is some type of a crisis. But we often then forget that, like when we go into our own crisis, which people don't even recognize they're sliding into that, is when we forget to allow ourselves to have the expression that comes forward with that idea of being full of wonder and innocence and playfulness and
Right.
taking ourselves to a place where the emotions and inspiration come from a place of wonder. I mean, absolutely a place of being back in a time and in an emotion where we didn't have all of that weight.
Yeah, I just went through a period of time where I sat back and I was like, man, I don't even know what I like. I don't even know what makes me happy.
Yeah.
And so I had to discover what made me happy.
And I've been there in similar places where I have sat down, I've got free time, and I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? And all I could think about were the things that I needed to get done for work or my to-do list. And I caught myself and I thought, oh my goodness, Joe, you need to bring more fun. Well, what is going to be fun today? And so I tried to capture that instead.
Well, one of the concepts that we want to kind of cover today is that of the sacral chakra, because the box that is coming is the pleasure box, and it has a really strong focus on that sacral chakra. So I want to kind of touch on what that actually means. And
it's a really deep connection because this is the place where, if we look at our chakra system, the root is where we have stability and safety and security. If you will, that's that place of being responsible and being mature and making sure needs are met, right? But right above that, the need to balance it, it comes with our sacral. And our sacral has so many important messages for us. Tracy and I were exploring a little bit in some of the chakra books that I have on my shelf here at Ways to Wellness, one of my stores. And there were some key words, I think, that jumped out. So I have to just share some of these key words. One of them is the idea of being excited and joyful, using that as an affirmation or a thought process, even a mantra, that I am excited and joyful. And it doesn't matter what it's about.
it's still going to help and foster balance
It
in that chakra.
exactly. And it can apply to work things.
Mhm.
Having something new, a new project, instead of dreading it, here you are thinking, oh, this is a new adventure.
Yeah, absolutely, and then I think it takes you out of that place of stagnation, so it's that excitement of something
Yep.
new.
Being inspired and being pulled into new experiences. So instead of being fearful of them or
Mhm,
apprehensive or creating an anxiety effect, your sacral chakra says, hey, you know what? Join me. This can be really fun.
mhm, absolutely.
And then some other thoughts, enjoying life, enjoying pleasures of life. And that means things like, really great food. For us, really great food means things that blesses our bodies because we have a lot of food things going on. And so we find, at least I do, and
Mhm.
in the traveling that we've been doing together, we find joy in just a simple restaurant that can accommodate our needs.
Okay, I have to stop
Yeah.
this right here because so in our situation with food, there we can't do gluten, soy,
Soy,
corn, all this other stuff.
and we're both vegan.
Yes, so it when you can come across a place that offers something that would be considered maybe a comfort food. We recently just had this experience where we went to a restaurant in Denver that offered macaroni and cheese.
That we both could eat and neither of us got sick. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
that there is so few times that you get to have those little pleasures. So macaroni and cheese was like amazing. It caused so much pleasure.
So we decided to order it as our appetizer and split it as a test. And then we fell in love with it. So we actually took it as a to-go box for the next day in lunch. It was that amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So see, even something as simple as
Mhm.
food can create
Yeah.
great pleasure, lasting pleasure, obviously.
Yeah, because we're still, that memory is holding on. The other thing that our sacral chakra does is it fosters and really thrives on our ability to be creative.
Mhm,
And so often we think of creativity in terms of an artistic expression, but we're limiting ourselves
mhm.
because we think of it as a visual creative expression. And I just have to, we love the artist who does the background and the inspirational art for us. So this is one of her pictures that just jumps out at me because pleasure, it exudes to me from this radiating light, which could be ourselves. And once we fulfill that aspect of taking in and expressing pleasure, it then trickles out to everything around us.
Mhm.
So just this
Beautiful.
this fun picture. But the other aspects of pleasure is we forget that it could be a verbal expression.
Mhm.
Writers have a lot of creative expression with bringing together a poem or just presenting ideas, like even a philosophy
Mhm.
of something that causes people to think about
Well,
things.
and I think people forget that even mathematical or scientific endeavors still can be creative.
I shared with Tracy on my
Mhm,
drive in this morning, there was a semi truck, and I don't even know what it was
mhm.
at hauling or what the advertisement was, but on the back of it, it said creative chemistry. And I thought, oh, those are two kind of opposite ideas, but how beautiful that we are beginning to merge and blend the idea of creativity with the logical aspects of our brains, our society.
Mhm.
So even that is the recognition that inspiration comes from creativity. And when we explore it, not just like in a chemical aspect, like this company, maybe allowing people who are those chemists to fulfill their creativity in other ways. And
Mhm.
then that flows over and helps them to be even more creative in their workplace or in
Yeah.
their logical space.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that creativity is a powerful connection to our intuition as well.
Oh, very much
Mhm.
so. Yep. So when we connect that creativity, we begin to recognize, I think, those inspirational messages that come to us.
Mhm.
We see beauty in new things, and we just allow that to come forward and to guide us.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think it also helps us to be better socially. Because if you can walk into a social situation, even if you're a little awkward or a little uncomfortable, and you can playfully approach something and
Mhm.
just make it an adventure, make it a game. I
Mhm.
mean, I loved as a teacher to make learning something that was much more of a game aspect for
Mhm.
my kids because they always responded well. If they thought they were playing, they remembered it more than if they thought, "Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta memorize this." No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think in many well-rounded aspects, when we foster that within ourselves, foster that being, this idea of balancing pleasure, creativity, playfulness
Mhm.
with the other aspects of our more mundane life, I think we have a happier life.
Absolutely. And one of the things this for this box that I'm really excited about, I think there are a lot of places that people need to experience healing so that
Yes.
they can more fully become pleasurable.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of beliefs and systems in place that we have that hold us back from fully experiencing pleasure in its fullness.
It is. It's ingrained in us. It
Mhm.
truly is. And I mean, I can't say that it all comes from societal expectations. Some of it does.
Mhm.
Some of us are just born being ultra responsible. I
Mhm.
mean, that's kind of the pattern that we come in with. And
Mhm.
some people just innately seem to have more humor, more positivity.
Mhm.
And, study after study show those that have longevity in their human experience in their life,
Mhm.
those who live to be 80, 90, and over 100, many of them attribute laughter to that. And so laughter is pleasure, a form of pleasure.
Supposedly, it's the best medicine,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Well, yeah,
yeah.
there are like Reader's Digest. That was always one of their included sections in every month was laughter's the best medicine.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. So from here, where do you go with trying to bring in more creativity? And I think that's probably people's most, I think it's the stumbling block that most people come up with. Because if you are in a situation where your partner isn't creative or your partners tends to be more of a solemn individual, for
Mhm.
me, I recognize in partnerships that that often happens, that we begin to mirror and reflect the other person, the significant others in our
Mhm.
lives. And so to begin to drip, I love that word, but to drip little aspects. So maybe you buy a puzzle,
Mhm.
something fun and silly, and you just leave it out on the table. And your family begins to, as you are walking by and putting a piece or two in, maybe they do too.
Mhm.
Maybe you go to Lake Michigan or somewhere else and you pick up rocks and you pick them up because they're unique and they catch your eye and they're an interesting shape. So I'm going to show you the back of some of these rocks, right? So it's round and it's got bumps and maybe it reminds you of a moon. But then you think, oh, if I just went and got a few paints, I could begin to create something. So it is a lunar expression. See this little crescent moon and the stars and the universe, but there is um, pattern to it here as well.
Yeah. So here's another example of a mandala style stone. And
Which,
yep,
yeah,
so there was the back.
and there's what happened.
Yep. And it doesn't take an artist to start making something creative.
Honestly, that rock that you just shared,
Uh-huh.
my husband painted that.
Oh, well, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and he's very scientific, but he and I have been really exploring and trying to find more things that we can creatively do together.
Mhm,
And that was rock painting. So that was his little mandala. This was mine. Mine ended up being more of a circular pattern,
mhm,
and branching out. But it was really fun because we just got to sit and listen to some music and
mhm,
talk, and we just painted.
mhm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, in this box this month, we are really trying to create a spark of creativity, kind of reignite that part of you.
That childlike aspect of you.
Yes. So that's kind of our little snippet into what you'll find in your box this month. You will be creating some mandala artwork
Yes.
on special hand-picked Lake Michigan stones.
So, with all of that being said, we really hope to inspire each and every one of you to tap into your, call it your inner child, call it your spontaneity, the balance within yourself that allows you to have that sense of wonder of
Mhm,
everything around you, and then to express that in some way. And it doesn't have to be picture perfect art. It could be anything. You could just collect leaves and flowers out on a walk, and then on your sidewalk, create a little pattern of mandala or a picture with that, and then just leave it. And
mhm.
nature will appreciate it, maybe the next person who walks by.
Yeah.
But those are the type of things that we ask that you just take a moment and think about and
Mhm.
allow yourself to have that expression and to bring that pleasure into your life.
Yes. Well, for those of you who wish to dig deeper, we invite you to click the links below and maybe consider subscribing to the box so that you can join us every
Yes.
single month in these little transformational adventures that we go on. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And we look forward to talking to you next month.
We absolutely do. Please remember you can like us on Facebook, and there is some inspiration to do that.
Yes, we actually are offering a free ritual to anyone who follows us on Facebook
Mhm.
or to anyone who subscribes to our newsletter on our website. So visit lightandlovebox.com and you can scroll down and join the newsletter.
We wish you a moment starting now of pleasure, and may that moment carry on to every next moment in your life. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.